Hola, 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 hola. Hello, Spirit Medicine Ways familia. How are we doing? Wow. So, it has been quite a bit. Thank you so much for all of your patience and all of your guidance and all of your love and shared wisdom that you've gifted us. This is our video series on Earth Spirit Wisdom and the cross-quarter holidays specifically. Um, we are here in New Jersey. This video has been quite an interesting experience to try to get it out um, in reality to all that is and all that is within, right? Me, the person who is hearing the call to offer it to our familia. So we are having some tornado weather in New Jersey, which is where I'm located. Very fascinating that it is showing. Hola, 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 hola. ¿Cómo están? So lights may go out, and so may energy, and the sounds that we'll hear. But I think it's pretty fascinating and gifting to know that Earth is always listening. And that's what this is about, right? To recognize that Earth is listening and that we're being asked to listen. So may these video series support that. I'll be consulting my little notebook and my notes here so I can stay on task, and we're going to try to keep it as concise for the reality. So I'm very excited today because I just came through quite a whirlwind. So it's very um, gifting. Every time I turn, I'm looking out my very grand. I have a beautiful window in this room, and it really lets me see what's happening outside. So um, I just came through a whirlwind of school. I just completed it. So this video really was struggling like a baby to come out. So um, this Lammas time, which was August 2nd, um, 2020, that was on Sunday here in the Eastern time zone, is actually our first of three harvest holidays. It is our third cross-quarter holiday. Our first cross-quarter is in bulk. We offered a video. You can check them out on our Spirit Medicine Ways Facebook page and hopefully on our YouTube page as well. And hopefully always like and share and please gift us of your wisdom. And then Beltana, which is our second, which we offered. That's May 1st. And now today, which is Lammas, but it was actually on the 2nd, and today is August 4th. And it's our first of three harvest holidays. And the wheel of the year, our first harvest holiday is Lammas. Our second is the September autumnal fall equinox. And our third is Samhain, contemporarily known as Halloween or Hallowmas, yeah? And so then we have other holidays that have shown themselves through the Gregorian calendar, like Thanksgiving, right? That's the end of all. That's outside of the will of the year. Nevertheless, I strongly believe that it was influenced through that which is the wheel of the year and Earth Spirit traditions in general. So I also want to just at this time, before we go into this expansion of what it is to also say a blessing for all of those here in Jersey that are really experiencing some high winds and some really deep weather. Our trees and our beautiful vegetation is really soaking it in, but nevertheless, oh yeah, our beautiful windstorm deity of the Yoruba comes in and lets us know, when it's time to ground and to really center so we can emerge in our blessed way. So many blessings to the ability to do that, to ground and center through these winds and through this torrential time here in New Jersey. And anyone who is losing power or very deeply impacted by the winds and the water, because it is a pouring out there. So, con eso dicho, Lammas. What about this Lammas teaching? So, I also want to say a little bit that it's a cross-quarter holiday, and our cross-quarter holidays are often associated with fire. Fire is the transformative ally. It's also one that can burn us, and this is interesting. Comes after the summer solstice, which is our fire holiday, right? El tiempo del sol, the sun time, and so it also now takes us descending. We're starting to descend into the depths of what is the equinox time, what is winter, fall and winter time. So this holiday is really about a time of beginning reflection, right? It's also very much our first harvest. While I'm harvesting, though, all that I've sown, I am reflecting. And when I harvest from a place of seeing the abundance of now, which can often be a little bit challenging, especially at this time, right, where we've really experienced as a world some um, energetic, tumultuous energy that, from a earth spirit perspective or an ascension perspective or shamanic perspective, um, for me, they're all one and the same, um, is about a time of transformation. Long-standing transformation can be hard, and it can be, and it's very often deathly, and and that is very much connected with evolution, even if we look back historically. So while we are in this time of gathering our abundance and our harvest of starting now, right, then we're also preparing and visual visioning and visualizing that which is to come, right? So it's very much about starting the dissension within. So as much as it is about the sun, which is our ruling planet right now, it's also very one of the strong deities because it is the one that's gifting our crops. It is also the deity of the earth that we're bringing together as well, right? That was very similar in Baltana, but the sun is starting to quiet. And so as we um, allow that harvest to come through and we sow our abundance and our seeds, we also reflect on what didn't come, on what we planted and kind of died, and what did show itself in large abundance, and what showed itself in a way that it wants us to harvest more of and to take in, right? So when we do that and we honor that, then we can see that large in all of our lives. And we'll talk a little bit more about that um, in the latter part of this video. So I just kind of want to talk a little bit about the shortening of the day, and it can really be felt actually now in August, very similar to 6 months, um, very similar to the Earth holiday of summer solstice, right? When our days start to grow in January, right? This is very similar. As of August, we start to really see the shortening of days, and for those of us who live in a seasonal um, state in the US or a seasonal area in the world, these things are very pronounced. Very interesting because with all the changes that we're going through with planetary ascension as well as climate shifts that are human born, as well as just planetary related, we're seeing some interesting stuff. I'm still very just really paying attention to that because our seasons are shifting, and as anything with death and the birth comes new, and these traditions will take us there. Yeah. So when we see the earth shortening, excuse me, con permiso, the sun and the days are shortening, we're starting to see these bold sunsets. I love Lammas, right? It's like takes me in to the most amazing part of the beginning of reflection. It's almost literally the earth is signaling us. And so I take this torrential, tornado-like air, wind experience, right, to us here in Jersey as already a signal. Like, let's bring it in. We can also say that that's been a reality because if, like me, you've been in your home for the last 4 days, mainly because of school, but also because of the realities that it is harder. It is harder for me to leave my home because of all the many aspects that exist in the collective reality and in the mainstream world and in our public world. So naturally, it's already signaling us to start going within, right? And so, well, the reason this happens, and I like this little tidbit of information, is that it's because the Earth is tilting, right? You know, the Earth orbits around the central star, which is a Sol, and then it orbits and it tilts, right? So it tilts its sun, it tilts itself to the southern hemisphere, which is Brazil, which is the other part, right? That instead of they're going in to this light time, we're going into the dark time on the northern hemisphere. So I find that really beautiful, and I appreciate that sciencey thing. I like that. So I find it now that science is starting to show all of the wisdoms that we know, the Earth Spirit wisdom, and I really appreciate that parallel. And as I said, a lot of the colors of now are golds, oranges, really fierce hues too, some pinks. And try to spend some time with that as you descend inward, because a big part of this is inviting us to begin storing harmoniously and generously, and from a perspective of gratitude and abundance. And that was interesting when this video and this speaking about llamas came very early for me. It came very early in July. Just kind of like zaps in, right? And then I'm like, oh, is that gonna take me all the way to August 2nd? Like, but it's been pretty consistent, right? So this idea of generous harvest and harmoniously harvest and storing and this centering. So, what does that mean? It means that when I go to my harvest and when I go to my seeds and when I go, I'm going in from a place of understanding that this is enough. That Spirit has gifted me and Earth has gifted me enough. Again, I think it's so important to put this in the context of bigger realities, right? We have been in a very heightened state of anxiety, at least in the U.S., especially in New Jersey and New York and very upper parts of the East Coast because of the realities of the pandemic. So a lot of our experience has been very in scarcity or like fear oriented, understandably. So much happened. Though we look to these earth holidays and we look to Lammas to guide us inward so that we understand that the abundance is ever reigning within us as well as without. One of the reasons I'm so grateful about the fact that I've been so internally preoccupied, per se, especially from a scholastic and academic form, is because it helped me see the abundance when I was really feeling very claustrophobic many times, very often. But it also helped put into perspective this idea of what is abundant in my life. Clearly, abundance of learning, abundance of wisdom, an abundance of love, an abundance of strength, an abundance of health and wellness, regardless of what is happening, right? When I am able to see the abundance in all of it, as in the beautiful seeds that I harvested, that I am harvesting from, right, that came up from Inbok, because this is very linked to Inbok. Inbok, which is February 1st and 2nd, is very linked to Lammas, because the seeds that I put in the ground that day and at that time are the seeds that I'm seeing now come up into their beautiful ascension from the ground. As they ascend upward and they ascend in their flourish, we also ascend downward, as they will too, yes, because they're preparing. So when I can see this, then I can recognize and see the abundance in now, and it allows me to then welcome and receive the abundance that awaits for me. One of the really a beautiful activity that I've been doing very consistently and very broadly, per se, to help me stay so focused has been to really see that, right? So I've been focusing. I even focused my new moon candle, which my intention, which ended or came to fruition now, lunar Lammas, which is the full moon of Lammas. It was yesterday, and it's in Aquarius. The energy of water and really deep reflection and personal, really freedom, right? And so that intention was to really be able to see and to recognize all the abundance. And when I see larger outside of crops, because I don't have crops, but I do have crops, I have school, I have family, and I have friends, and I have beautiful communities, and I have souls who are constantly feeding me in different ways. And I have an abundance of internal an abundance of internal abundance and harvest, as well as outside, even in the toughest of moments, as well as outside. And that has allowed and will manifest, allow me to see as we move into equinox and as we move into Samhain, to the darker times of the year, to already go in with the strength. And this is another interesting part, right? Because this is very much related to our deity of light, right? But it's also related to John Barleycorn, right? And the Earth Mother. So before I even go there, I wanna talk about this abundance of light. The sunflower has come very interesting, and it's not necessarily the flower of now. The flowers of now, as per the calendars, are gladiolas and papi, because they are in season now and they're really coming up. But the sunflower teaches us something. Besides it being amazing internally for all the electronic waves that are in front of us and being consumed by our bodies, it also teaches us how it stores light, right? It opens up and it feeds all through the sun. Takes it in generously, going in through. Then it drops at night. It's like great solar power, right? So it feeds because it understands that abundance of light, right? So if we can see that we go to the sun and let us allow us to store it. This is a really good time to do those sunsets practices. This is a really good time to sit down, compadre sol, and allow it to be the one that guides us into descending. Because the more that we store it from a place of abundance, harmonious generosity, and like a radius space of understanding that there is enough. We are enough. And there's enough in sharing it. Then when I go deeply within, I have all this light that has been gifted to me. So it supports this idea of sad seasonal affect disorder. It supports those of us who really can sometimes go through a tough time in these dark months because they are deep and they take us into the waters that are sometimes a little bit, which we'll talk about. So a little tidbit there and something to really put into the practice. I find it to be very helpful and very supportive now as we move into this time. I also want to talk a little bit about the Earth Mother and all of this beautiful abundance and crops, and how that abundance is also connected to John Barleycorn. These are deities that are very much connected to the wheel of the year, and we're seeing it right in agriculture. Is that green man, the green man, which is the image or the deity or the understanding, the masculine understanding of that which spurts out, right? And then the grand or great mother, that which allows the belly to grow in the womb, to expand, and right through that understanding of sun, which turns into the crop and comes out and feeds the earth, which is the big womb, right? It's like totally representative of childbirth and of masculine and feminine energies, especially here on Earth, right? And so one of the things that I was reading through my beautiful glowing wisdoms and through my through my wee womb, wee moon, and also on different books I have about the idea of corn dollies. And corn dollies are made of corn because that is the grain of now, because that's what we're going to start seeing. And that's what we're going to start harvesting. If we haven't already started harvesting already. Some have already started to see harvest. Some of my clients, I'm so blessed, have already started to see some harvest, early harvest. And so they would create corn dollies to put in seeds of whatever we wanted to see for the future. So it was intentions, right? And use them as protectresses, right? And so John Barleycorn, which is our deity, the masculine, was also said to praise, right? Because the corn was what showed us the abundance of later. So these are things that we can apply to our own life. And when we do, they help us ground and center and then emerge. So this is a real theme right now on that part. I hope you all are enjoying that, right? That's like right in my window. Um, I'm really grateful to the water and the winds of cleansing. May they see us through. May we see each other through, even the scariest times, whether they're earth related or inspired or human, inspired and created. And may these cleansing waters and winds really allow us to go deep in our blessed guides and know that these are our allies and that we can move through all things. So this is a great time to take me to our deity. This is a great opportunity. I'm just checking here to make sure. So, yeah. So it's interesting that we're having this here in Jersey, in Union City specifically. This reality with Earth and the water and the winds. One of the teachings, which is very interesting, that came through was with a deity called Oshun. And this is the deity of the Yoruba tradition. What I'm going to share again, and what I've shared is always a mix, right? It's a mix of what I receive and how I interpret it and the wisdom as it comes through my being and the beautiful beings that guide this process. Because I don't know how I do it, people, but I do. And I hope that that reflection is for you too, because I do it because you do it. And when you do it, you feed me. And I hope I feed you. And from what I hear, I think it is happening like that. So this teaching came, I want to say about two weeks ago. Casi, right? Like almost 3. My little mermaid cup here, that's real, people. And it's great because I'm gonna do that little mermaid thing. So Oshun is known as the one of our great mothers, or one of our aspects of the great mother. And I just want to make sure that I'm speaking clearly. She is also connected to the sunflower, right? That's one of her offerings. She's sunflower, she's honey, she's sweetness, she's grace, she's sexuality and sensuality. So she's very much really, yeah. She's really the deity of solstice. We just had a real big punk here, so that brought me in. She's really the deity of summer solstice. And when I was in the Delaware Water Gap, very gratefully so, with a very beautiful being who is very connected to Oshun, she was very present. And I hadn't been in Oshun. I'm a Yamaya girl. I'm always in the ocean water. I mean, anyone who knows me, that's like a real deity of that really sits and centers with me. But Oshun is often there. Ah, look at that. Hola. I love y'all, people. I really do. Thank you for bringing me out, because sometimes I can go deep. Hence Oshun. So let's talk a little bit about her. And I'm going to read this just because I really want to honor the truth of what's happening in New Jersey, and it's getting really, really intense here. So, sure. Soft, bold, deep, current, sweet, seductive, fertile, sunny. So, honey, chocolate, sunflowers, right? And so I'm sitting there and I realize the difference of her. And this is now. This is like in the middle of her deep rivers, lake waters. Rivers very different than the ocean, and rivers go into the ocean. Yes. Whereas I want to talk a little bit of a contrast here, Yemaya. Yemaya is the deity too. She's known as a great mother because she's so embracive of all things, and she is the ocean. And if we know that todo se emboca, ¿verdad? Va a la oceana, va al mar. All our waters go to the ocean. All of our rivers, some of our lakes, because they connect to our rivers, and then there's some bodies that just sit there. So our great water source here is the ocean in Shishimaya. Yemaya, on the other hand, is the descent deeply within, right? And with the embrace of a great mother, right? We have her that really comes into the equinox. And we think about another one that I want to speak, which is very associated with both, and it's so appropriate to right now. Oh, yeah. Torrential rains, winds, strengths to the profound that they can knock things down and they can take us out. So I'm sitting in this body of water because it's been raining and I can't go to the beach because people don't like to go to the beach when it rains, clearly only me. And I'm in this beautiful river and I'm there and I'm swimming and I'm realizing this soft current that sneaks up on me, and it's really bringing all of a sudden fiercely just comes in. And now I consider myself a pretty strong swimmer, and I'm like really like adventurous. So I'll like swim long parts and I'll put myself in water. It's like my way of connecting, but it's also my way of kind of really allowing the trust and faith that which of these beings to really do their work. So it just makes me better. It's my journey as understanding the power of Earth Spirit. And I start to realize this current. And that's what Oshun is, right? That beautiful, selective, bold, seductive, bold, fertile mother that comes in with the feminine quietness. And from the bottom, I'm taking, like snake, right? And I associate her with this time because we are able, or I associate this teaching, right, to be wanting to be shared because when we're able to take that knowing of coming out so seductively and so beautiful like the sunflower and absorbing all, but then when I need to, being really aware of these currents that are deeply within me, right, that can sometimes grab me on your foot, right, when I still, I ground and I listen. And I pray, I hope you can hear me, and I pray or whatever it is that I do, then I can go with the dark, deep current. Like my friend calls it the dark water. Well, shoot, it's the dark water, man, for sure, right? But I can. Versus struggling, going, reacting, right? Stop. And I allow the current to guide me through its steps. And that is a feminine wisdom. And that is a real wise wisdom for now that I realize really really wanted to come through. And this year, for the first time, I learned and understood why she is that representation of feminine beauty within and without, as well as the current of depths of below. Quiet, soft above, and then below, quickly taken. Um, Also, if we look at this, the sun is the same, right? The sun can warm you, gift you, replenish you, but it could burn you. Fire. And Oshun, very connected with fire energy, because of that seductive, even if she is a water being, because of that sunflower and all of that femininity, right? Um, it can burn. So it's a really beautiful teaching for me that I wanted to share, that I thought would be applicable because it wanted to be shared for this time and helping us go through. So I also wanted to before closing out and thanking you all for this beauty. May we go into we'll go into like a little prayer and a little song, which I wasn't going to sing, pero bueno, it seems like it's what we're doing here. It's been a while since I've sang, and it's definitely been a very real part getting here. So I'm very grateful. I wanted to give thanks to all of you, and all the texts, to all of you and all the check-ins, to all of you and all the ways that you continue to ask Spirit Medicine Ways to be very much present in your life. I want to give you so much thanks for letting us know the importance of these things and the importance of that which um, has given us the ability to serve our community in such powerful and abundant ways. I want to thank you for all the work you're doing. I want to thank you for all the ways you get up every morning and you show up. And I want to thank you so deeply for all the ways that you love and all the ways that you allow every color, like the sun, which is a great time right now, to show, right? When the sun goes down, showing all the colors, right? And we go through those different hues. Right now, those pinks, those reds, those golds, those oranges are real. Let them take us into those cold times that we'll feel ahead. And I want to share that there's many beautiful things happening. I have a lot of beautiful people who are doing great things, and although we're not always so present because I'm very deeply on a current that they have me doing, nevertheless we are here. So we've been receiving a lot of requests, or just we receive requests for different teachings and classes and workshops and stuff. And one of them that's been coming in very much is the directions and understanding how to use the wheel, right? Um, so hopefully that will be something in the near future. It's been very requested often by many for a while now, and we hope to be able to do things a little bit more. And so we're very grateful for that. And with that being said, I invite you, please send requests, posts to this video, send us messages, email us at spiritmedicineways@gmail.com. We're on Instagram. Again, very limited activity, and sometimes we don't get back to you, but please do continue to respond and let us know what you want to hear and what we can offer and what ways we can enrich and nourish our community so that as a human being, we only become more harmonious with the spirits in the earth wisdoms that are gifting us the knowledge to even be on this pain at this time. With that being said, I just want to shout out for humans and souls that are really doing some great work. Two of my brilliant sisters, Madeline Groisha, she's doing some really great work. Check her out on her Instagram page, on her Facebook page, on her One Voice. A lot of beautiful things are growing. So she's known as Groisha. Check it out. Doing a lot of good stuff in the community. Another person is Marianne Fernandez with Gypsy Yogas. She's doing really great stuff from meditations to yoga and just really beautiful, plentiful offerings. Mari V NYC on Instagram, Gypsy Yogis on Instagram, and Human First page. Two of my really brilliant brothers who I want to also support is Salvador Cardenas. You can find him. I've shared some stuff on my personal page, Cristina Maria Rojas Fernandez. He's also on YouTube. I try to put up his most recent one here if I haven't shared it. But a really brilliant Spanish speaking man who's talking about breath, who's talking about grounding and just doing it from such a wise way. The ancestros, yeah. And then another brother who's on Spotify as an I am educator is Leslie Spalding, doing some really great work. If you can find him on Spotify, has some really beautiful meditations there through a program of I Am Educator. And I'll hope to put some little links, if not on this video, but when I post to YouTube. Thank you so much. Now I think it's a beautiful time for us to just kind of ground and to come into space. And in just a little short while, we're just going to do a little bit of, prayer and giving thanks. And so grateful to you all. I'm sitting in the hot room, people. It's real. It's very nice to be here. And I'm very grateful to be grounded in this knowing and very open to all that is. I'm very grateful to be connected to all the sources that bring us in this form, and I'm very grateful to have the benevolence to open up the doors. I'm very grateful to allow us to listen, to hear, through the crashing, through the screams, to allow us to go within, into the depths of our beings. Very grateful to all the abundance of now, to all the abundance that is within us, to all the abundance that will take us to the places of tomorrow, to the seeds that we've planted in Imbo, to the ones that are showing their grace, that are growing from the depths of the earth into the beauty of the sun's embrace. We're ever grateful to the ways that you are showing us to be grateful, showing us that the time when we are harvesting, we are sowing, that we are coming from a place of abundant knowing. That all is enough, for we are enough, for we have come and we are here now to allow us to be in the depths of our knowing, grounding, centering, like that which we are growing, emerging from the depths of within, like our crops, like the great mother who holds the fertility, and that place where the green man comes, and together they sprout the beauty that comes from the land and the sun. We're ever grateful to that and that which is now, remembering, seeing, recognizing all the abundance, the generosity, and sharing it harmoniously and generously throughout. Always remembering that when we share, it means because we are more. And we are enough, free of fear, full of courage, in the truth. We are in no hurry. Standing tall through the whirlwind, allowing the winds to take us in. Blessings to our earth, blessings to our humans, blessings to the souls, blessings to nature spirits. Thank you for it all. Blessings to planetary consciousness, to individual, to the family, to the grander scope that we are growing through. Blessings in the smallest, tiny ways to the biggest, biggest purviews. That being said, a gift to Washunsida. Makes me think of our beautiful family in Peru. As this rattle, the fish of the rivers. The river that feeds them. The river that they live from, the source of water. Like the Mississippi River here. The place that is sacred, and remembering that our waters are sacred and they will take us. And that with them, there it is our life. nitaya Oshakineva Nita Oshun Shake it, shake it, shake it Nitaya Ine were were Ide were were Nita Oshun Ine were were Ine were were Nita Oshun Ine were were Nitaya Oshakineba Nita Oshun Shake it, shake it, shake it Nitaya Ine were were Ine were were Nita Oshun Ine were were Ine were were Nita Oshun Ine were were Nitaya Oshakiniva Nita Oshun Shake it, shake it, shake it Nitaya Ine were were May the blessings of Oshun, the blessing waters, the depths of the within to the beauty of the without, allow us to sprout forward the goodness and the abundance that we are. May we always remember it. May we all know that in our beauty of entering the time of reflection, in the depths we go, and in the beauty that we shall come out, and all the goodness and the harvest we shall reap. Blessings to you. Thank you so much for being with us today. We love you deeply. Infinite, infinite love, eternal gratitude, and mega, mega spirit divinity to you. Until soon, spirit medicine ways. Blessed Lammas. Blessed be. Ohan. Umate. So it is.